Muhammadu and TVC Adeoye in our Abuja studio for FCT Brief. Good morning, guys. It's over to you now.
Good morning, Veronica. It's good to hear from you this morning. And good morning to the rest of the team over there.
Yeah, good morning, Veronica, and good morning, colleagues. It's our beautiful Wednesday morning, and the president, former President Muhammadu Buhari, was laid to rest yesterday.
Yeah. It was quite a humbling moment. Just reminds us how frail life is. You know, with someone of so much affluence and influence, you know, seeing how he was lowered into the ground yesterday just reminds us of our humanity once again. And, you know, yesterday, you could see the organic love his people had for him. Though lots of people might argue that Buhari, former President Muhammadu Buhari, was not so much loved by a lot of people. But there in Daura, you could see that I saw some people on trees, some people on the fence with barbed wires, you know, shouting, "Say Baba," and all of that. You know, yes, he might have his bad side, but you can't also devoid the good that he must have done for his people. And it just reminds us that here on earth, when we have the time, we should always do good with the time we have here on earth, because seeing the love I saw from his people yesterday just goes to show that indeed he's truly the man of the people that people call him to be. People call him a lot of things, Megaskia, a man of the people, you know, just there are examples to pick from yesterday. And I hope that, you know, we saw a lot of leaders there and all of that. I hope that they pick those lessons that I personally witnessed yesterday.
Yeah, I perfectly agree with you. So many lessons to pick. And even the Bible said that it's better to be in the house of mourning than to be in the house of feasting. Yesterday, when I watched through the live broadcast, I started interpreting so many things that were not said. And I think, just like you rightly said, our leaders have so much, and even Nigerians have so much to pick, because death is the ultimate end of everyone.
Of course.
And after death, Judgment. So let's.
But also for Nigerians, we should also try to imbibe the spirit of forgiveness, because I saw a lot of comments yesterday that yes, I know a lot of people are angry, but even the Bible says it. You know, we ask for forgiveness, and it says we should also forgive. So if you don't have that spirit of forgiveness, how do you want the good Lord to forgive you? Well, let's move on to what we have today.
Okay. Yeah. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us on FCT Brief. We continue this special tribute program with the life and legacy of former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari, who passed away at the age of 82. While often remembered for his role as a soldier and statesman, many Nigerians are also reflecting on his quiet but impactful contributions to disability rights and inclusion in the country. Born in Daura, Katsina State in 1942, Muhammadu Buhari's life journey was one marked by military discipline, political resilience, and a commitment to national development. But beyond the headlines of war against corruption and economic reforms, Buhari carved a lesser known but powerful legacy, advancing the rights and dignity of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. In 2019, President Buhari signed the long-awaited Discrimination Against Persons with Disabilities Act, a landmark piece of legislation that had stalled for nearly 2 decades. The Act provided for the establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, ensuring a framework for accessibility, education, employment, and protection of rights for millions of Nigerians living with disabilities.
Buhari's administration also enforced a 5-year transitional period for public buildings to become accessible, and his government introduced disability desks across ministries to mainstream inclusion in governance. Despite criticisms in other areas, his efforts in promoting disability inclusion have earned him recognition from both local and international rights organizations. Today, with over 30 million Nigerians living with disabilities, Buhari's disability rights legacy continues to shape policy, public awareness, and the future of inclusive development. As a nation mourns the passing of a former leader, it also honors the humanitarian strides that marked his time in office. Former President Muhammadu Buhari may be gone, but his work lives on in the ramps being built, in the children with disabilities attending schools, and in the silent assurance of equal rights for all. For more on the program, let's speak with Dr. Jake Epelle, the founder and CEO of TAF Africa Disability Inclusion Champion, and also policy and governance experts. It's good to have you in our studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome to the program. Well, one major win for President Muhammadu Buhari's administration was the signing of the Disability Act. For you, how far-reaching has that act been?
I think I'll speak specifically on two things. A silent aspect of the analysis of this president that just left us, that a lot of people have not spoken about. Well, let me start with your question. One is the fact that, take it or leave it, President Buhari did well, extremely well, for the community of persons with disability. Whether it's signing the law, signing the act into the law, which was a struggle for several other administrations. He took the bull by the horn and signed the act into law. That we give him kudos. The establishment of the National Commission for Persons with Disability is another milestone that will go down as one of his positive legacies. Of course, his obvious and open compassion for the community and the less privileged at large is something that nobody can wish away. So the community of persons with disability stands to mourn the former president and to send our condolences to the family. And I would like to also remind those who are living that we're today talking about this man and what he did, the former president. I think it's also high time for those who are living to write their obituaries. What would you be remembered for? Let me put it on this note. You know, the day you were born, you cried. Everyone around you or the whole world rejoiced. Live your life so well that the day you die, you will rejoice. And everyone around you will cry. There were highs and lows that one can talk about the presidency of the former president. But in terms of what we're discussing this morning, he did well. Now, let me zero in on an aspect that a lot of people haven't talked about. And that's the aspect of the loyalty of this current president. I don't think it's a talking point that anybody had mirrored. I was coming and was talking with my personal assistant about what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu contributed to what we know today as the legacies of Buhari. Now, I'm not a big fan of anybody. I just present issues the way they are, you know. But I was thinking about that in 2015, without President Bola Tinubu, Buhari wouldn't have won that election. It's obvious. Some people may disagree with me, but I've followed political development in this country, and I contribute to political development. So I'm speaking from a point of knowledge. The second election that brought him to complete his 8 years tenure, President Bola Ahmed contributed immensely. And I was watching yesterday the full presidential honor. That's a man who showed loyalty from the time that this individual lived to the time he went to be with God.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's very commendable.
All right, Dr. Epelle, let's come back quickly to the subject of discussion, the Disability Act. Now, help us understand, for some people, there was a commission, or instead of a commission for disability, probably don't fully appreciate what it was like before this time. Help us understand, what was it like, the disability community, before setting up this commission that you now said had made such tremendous impact on that community?
Well, I mean, there's no way the law would have been implemented without setting up the commission. The commission is the arm of government that sees the implementation of the law. there's absolutely no way that law would have been effective. It would have been something that anybody is talking about. The commission had to take on the task of awareness, take on the task of implementing many provisions of the law. And so, by the way, it's also on record that it was during Buhari's tenure that the push for participation of persons with disability in politics was highlighted or spotlighted. Also, the creation of the Ministry of Humanitarian, although during his tenure there were issues about corruption. The ministries and the ministers of then weren't doing, in my opinion, what they should do. All right. However, he was the one who created the special purpose vehicle called the Ministry of Humanitarian. I want to dare say that the current minister is trying to right the wrongs of the past ministers. That said, it's also something that's happening during the administration of Bola Tinubu. And I think the Minister for Humanitarian should be encouraged. For me, in my personal opinion, he is one of the star ministers of this administration. You know, having said that, implementation has been a problem. When people say, well, there are too many policies and laws in the country and no implementation. And I said, look, listen, laws don't implement themselves. Policies don't implement themselves. It's people that are behind those policies that push for that policy to be implemented. So during the administration of the former president, who is now late, there was a big move to push the needle. Accessibility came to the forefront, political participation came to the forefront, budgeting came to the forefront, although it was very, very minimal budget for the commission, but at least we saw somebody who kick-started it. While I also praise him, I want to also remind myself that he didn't continue the legacy of treating persons with albinism who had skin cancer for free. Obasanjo established it, Goodluck Jonathan pushed it further, and actually paid the first bill of 17.8 million naira to National Hospital. I couldn't get President Buhari to really implement to the full. I remember that the current Assistant Secretary General for UN, Amina, who is a dear friend of mine, had to go to him and talk to him about it. They started, but they couldn't sustain it. But that shows the imperfect situation in every leader. I am a leader of my community. I have my own woes. I have my own idiosyncrasies. And so I think we shouldn't wait until somebody dies before we start praising that individual.
Has that advocacy continued with this current administration, since you said you didn't get the right recognition with the Buhari administration? Have you pushed it to the Tinubu administration?
Incidentally, I have more friends in Tinubu's administration than I had in Buhari. No, I think I had more friends in Buhari. But however, I have not been able to do that. I have made some positive move to engage in terms of, and I'm being specific, for persons with albinism. Don't forget that I don't speak only for persons with albinism. I speak for persons with disability nationally and globally. You know, so the push for the administration of Bola Tinubu to recognize and allow persons with albinism to be treated who have skin cancer. And I'm not saying because we should be singled out, but I'm saying because we are one of the poorest community within the disability framework. The data are there to show, even though we are more politically aware, because if you go to the INEC database, you will see that there are more persons with albinism who are eligible to vote than any segment of persons with disability. Please fact check this. I'm not making up anything, you know. Yeah. But however, the good thing I would say is that at least the administration listens. The extent to which they will go is what we'll see. Sometimes it's best to look at the achievement of an individual after that person has gone, not died, but still alive. Today I can talk about the achievement of Goodluck Jonathan in terms of paying the bill. He did. I want to be able to sit back and talk about the achievement of Bola Tinubu at the end of his presidency.
All right, but let's still focus our mind on, the legacies of former President Muhammadu Buhari, who spent most of his life in public service. How do you think Nigerians will remember former President Muhammadu Buhari?
I think he will be remembered as a statesman like no other. I must say that. In terms of humility, in terms of nationality, he has his own downsides. He couldn't manage the economy. And I think this administration has been very fair to Muhammadu Buhari, because the president and his team is not talking about what they inherited, But however, he approved certain policies that was a problem. One of them, you will remember, is that of the currency change. It wasn't properly managed. And to be honest with you, as in my work in leadership, leaders take responsibility for decisions they make. It doesn't matter who advised them. But we had one of the worst central bank governor, who is Epelle, who made all those decisions and took it to him to approve. But then again, like I said, whoever gives you information as a leader, is your responsibility to research and ensure that you're making the right decision. In terms of economy, he didn't manage the economy very well. He couldn't. And of course, he thought he had the best economic team. And a lot of people exploited some aspect of its weakness and carted away monies that belongs to this country. And I want to use this opportunity to ask this president to go after them and get those money. And we shouldn't get the money and leave them unpunished. This concept, an idea of go them, beg them, get the money, leave them to walk around the street, is not helping us. If we must fight corruption, we must fight corruption head on.
Okay, Doctor, you talked about persons, the albinism community, you talked about people with disability and all that. Now, rather than push for a special consideration for people that are
with albinism,
yeah, for them to have health, medical attention. You said they are one of the poorest in the society. We also have the poor that are not albinos.
They are.
Now, is it not possible to consolidate this push to the government to say, okay, why don't we have an attention on our medical sector to see how we can ensure that we have a holistic, because we're not just talking about the federal government now. We have 36 state governments, we have 6 geopolitical zones. So beyond the federal government, is it not possible now we begin to join force with others to push that, look, we must have a critical attention on the medical sector, whether in the geopolitical zones, whether from the state level and all that?
You asked a very smart question, my friend. First of all, I had moved from advocating and intervening for persons with albinism to persons with disability. That's why we had a name change. We started as the Albino Foundation. And then, of course, my work at the UN required that the name be changed, because you don't call us albinos, because the word albino is the word albos, which is Latin word, and it means extremely white. I'm not extremely white, but also biologically it speaks of the albinistic body. So you have plant, you have rats, you have cockroaches and whale that have albinism. And so for you to make a distinction, you refer to a person like me, which I'm very proud to be a person with albinism, Of course, if I'm not, probably you wouldn't have invited me. So I'm very proud and comfortable to be a person with albinism.
I like that.
So however, in order to make a distinction and say this is human, this is non-human, if I use that phrase, the United Nations in CRPD Convention, which is the convention that automatically every country have signed into, says that persons with albinism should be referred to as persons with albinism, not albinos. The same thing is applicable with when people use phrases like disabled people. Even when you use phrases like living with disability, that's derogatory. The right term is persons with disability. So we are in the framework of persons with disability, and I stand here to say that I don't speak specifically for persons with albinism, but for persons with disability. I was a keynote speaker at the Global Summit in Berlin. I wasn't invited to come and speak on albinism. I was invited to come and speak for access to work scheme for persons with disability. I just came back, and kudos to the community, because I was privileged to be nominated by this administration. I'm pleased I had to sort myself out. Okay, that's another thing. This administration to go and represent Nigeria at the COP18, which is the convention of Committee of Parties in United Nations. So on the 10th of July, I was privileged to sit in the General Assembly and represented Nigeria with the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Humanitarian.
All right. Well, looking ahead, what can you say the Tinubu administration can build upon in terms of the achievements of former President Muhammadu Buhari, especially as concerning the disability community?
Okay.
What are those achievements?
I'll take it. I'll look at the three tier. Number one, the executive. What the executive can do: create more awareness, vote more funds so that you can support the commission, recognize the effort of organizations of persons with disability that are credible. That's one. Number two, legislation. The Legislative Assembly has been very inclusive, especially the House of Representatives. The Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, who is my very good friend, who is openly a champion of persons with disability. I was privileged to with partners, we were able to take 3 chairmen of the House of Representatives to Berlin, and they were part of the Global Summit, Disability Summit, GDS. So we need more inclusive legislation. The current constitutional reform should factor every aspect of disability. The current constitution has very minor provision for disability. We want to see increase in that. And so it can only come through inclusive legislation. In terms of judiciary, the judiciary is scored very low when it comes to inclusion. And there's a need for more to be done in terms of access to justice. And when I speak of inclusion, I was very happy when I got in here and I saw that Marvelous, the cameraman, camera woman. Before it used to be cameraman. Now we have a camera woman. And kudos to TVC. And of course, you have brought color to this gentleman with white beard. So inclusion. That's the way to go. And inclusion does not just mean persons with disability. I advocate for women. I'm a he for she. You and women, he for she. Yes, I am. And so I advocate for women. I advocate for youths. We shouldn't leave anybody behind. When you leave one person behind, others can move forward.
Now we're talking about inclusion, and especially talking about how to bring in the disability community on board in politics. Is it just about appointments? Does that solve the agitation? Does that solve the challenge of non-inclusion?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I keep saying you ask the right questions, my friend, and you do too, and you're very, very beautiful. Listen, participation in politics does not only end with appointment. Participation of persons with disability in polity in general does not only end with appointments. Getting us to vote is one thing. Allowing us to be voted for is another thing. So getting persons with disability to occupy leadership position is key, either by elective means or appointive means, whichever one. It's important that persons with disability are allowed to sit at the table and make decisions for the well-being of themselves and the country at large. I have been able, in my own little way, plus others, I'm not the only one, gotten quite a lot in terms of social development for the country. I have advocated openly, I think I did that in Berlin a couple of weeks ago, that all that you hear about Nigeria is not true, you know. And so everyone, just like you're seated here, you're contributing to nation building, and everybody should be given a chance. Well,
very quickly before I let you go, there are calls now for the immortalization of President Muhammadu Buhari. Do you think this is a way to go? Should the current administration immortalize him?
I think it's important that we do that. But however, let's do it while the person is alive. Let's also find out what President Bola Tinubu is doing that we can highlight that he's doing well. And of course, when he's not doing well, people like me will also say it. However, I believe that people should be praised. When you don't appreciate people, they depreciate. And oftentimes they depreciate while they're alive. You know, I should be able to give you a pat on the back that you've done well. And this morning, come on, you've done pretty well, and you are doing well. So people should be praised when they are alive. And when they are not, when they've gone, they should also be praised. I think both of you quoted the Bible. It's very, very clear in the Bible that we should honor those who have departed.
It's a fine place to leave the conversation this morning. We must say thank you so much for your time with us, and also the compliments. We must appreciate that.
That smile coming. Thank you, my friend. Take care of her, right?
Very well.
All right, that's where we'll leave our conversation this morning. We hope that you enjoyed it. We'll now hand you over to Lagos, where Veronica and the rest of the team are standing by.